So Matt, one of the last things that we want to chat about before we get you out of here is, there is a vacancy now as the chair of the FA has stepped down after some pretty aberrant behavior that's just completely ridiculous in 2020. But you had a shout, and I'll just kind of read the tweet verbatim, that the FA should be putting in a call to Michael Emenalo, who I am astounded has not yet returned to football. He can make a real change from inside and couldn't be better qualified to help run the English game. There were replies, there were reactions, and I think it's more just as the opportunity to maybe expand a little bit of the dialogue around it.
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm a big champion of Michael Emenalo. I always have been. I've always thought that his role at Chelsea was misunderstood by a lot of people. A lot of people thought he was just in charge of signings. In actual fact, he was never in charge of signings, ever. Marina's always been in charge of signings. He played a big part in signings, but that was a small part of a huge job he had. I mean, a much bigger part of his job was creating the academy, was the loan system, was the processes Chelsea have for scouting, was the processes Chelsea have when they built their own Y Scout computer program. They built their own because they knew that the public one could get hacked into by other clubs, which has actually happened. Liverpool and Man City got into a big legal court case because one of them hacked into the other one's Y Scout account and looked at the players they were looking at. Michael, years ago, realised that could be a possibility, and actually Chelsea developed their own programme, which only Chelsea have got the keys to, and which everybody says is way better than the sort of public programme that a lot of clubs use. So his job was massive, and what he did at Chelsea was actually incredible. And I've always felt that. And I now feel that the Monaco thing, I think Michael would say himself, he should never have gone there. It was a bad decision. The club was not set up in the right way at all for him to go in and implement anything that he wanted to. You could look at the manager turnover after he left. I think they quickly went through 2 or 3 managers straight away. He went into a basket case not quite fully clued up in terms of what was going on there, and it kind of hit him in the face a little bit. And now that seems to hang over him, and it's a real shame. But I just think he now is in a stage where he would be wonderful to go into a club or an organisation, a bit like he did at Chelsea all those years ago, and just start implementing the basics and building a culture. He built a culture at Chelsea. And I would love him to do that for English football. Look, I don't think he will. I think the FA would be scared of him. I don't think they will put a call into him. I think probably he would rather go back into club football than work in a national association. But he would be my first choice every day. But I mean, I champion Michael for a lot of things because, when the FA technical job came up, he could do that job as well. When the Villa technical director job came up, I'll admit I did everything in my power to try and get messages into Villa to say, someone put a call into Michael Emenalo, please. I think he could do a wealth of roles, and I think the chairman of the FA would be great for English football, but I probably don't think it will happen, sadly.
Who then do you think is the most likely candidate?
This is an impossible question to answer, and it will probably be somebody a lot of people have never heard of. There's a lady, Baroness Sue Campbell, who is very high up in women's football and has done an awful lot through sport. She's a very qualified candidate, but obviously not the same sort of profile as someone like Michael. I think she's got a good shout. Paul Elliott, who's within the FA already. Obviously, Chelsea fans would know Paul Elliott. He will have a shout, but it's not like it's not like a normal vacancy with a football manager or player transfer. It's not one you can easily speculate on. I hadn't heard of Greg Clark before he joined the FA, for instance.
Well, judging on the replies that tweet got of yours and some of the getting stuck inness from you, Matt, I think we might have to maybe set some time aside and do a Michael Emenalo overview piece and share that out, because definitely I think he, even when he did the palpable Discord line that was a very interesting time to be a Chelsea fan. And
I mean, there's lots of. He's a really interesting story, and his role is completely misunderstood by so many people. You know, people will say, "Oh, he signed Papadil Bodji." Not really. Oh, he's responsible for that terrible window when we signed Drinkwater and everyone. He is partly responsible, but certainly not fully responsible. And then people don't get all the other work he was doing. You know, he tells a fascinating story. Just to carry on, I'm going to have to go soon, but he tells a fascinating story whereby he didn't tell me the name of the manager. So I want you to know that he didn't tell me this, but somebody else at Chelsea told me it was this manager. So I feel free to be able to say it because Michael wasn't the source of the name. But Andre Villas-Boas, when Michael was signing up youngsters like Kevin De Bruyne, like Romelu Lukaku, like Thibaut Courtois, he was getting all the scouting done in Belgium. He's got roots in Belgium because he played in Belgium. He knows the Belgian game, and he knew that something special was happening in Belgium. And it was when Villas-Boas was Chelsea manager. And Villas-Boas got wind of the fact that Chelsea were getting all their scouts into Belgium. They were trying to sign Belgian players. Villas-Boas went in very annoyed to Michael, saying, "What's Belgium? Since when did Belgian players become? Why aren't we looking at Brazilian players? Why are we looking at what's Belgium in world football? Why are we doing this?" And Michael turned around and said, "I'm not looking at passports. I'm looking at the players, and there's something special going on in Belgium." And he in that instance, he was a bit of a visionary. He saw the Belgian thing going on way before it happened. And if Villas-Boas had his way, he'd have been just sending everybody off to Brazil to look for the next Hulk or someone.